not know that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
It's mainly just like I get worried about how people may think of me, or I get worried about if I talk too much, or if I'm being too quiet, or I'm worried about like if my face looks like I'm mad at somebody. Because I know I have like when I rest my face, I know that I have like a natural like slight frown, and sometimes I worry that like people are gonna think I'm like being rude if I look at them, but I'm really not. Because like whenever like I see people at school who like I think I have like a pretty hairstyle, like nice clothing, I'll like look, but like I won't like smile or anything, and I get worried that they're probably thinking I'm like judging them or something. So I worry about like basically every little thing.
How about other people?
Yeah.
Their perception of you?
Yeah.
Okay, do you have poor concentration?
No, but that's mainly because honestly, just because I'm on a medication that helps me with my focus. Even if I forget to take that medicine, my focus has honestly gotten better with and without it. It's definitely better when I take it, but my focus has honestly been a lot better. Either way, if I don't take it, I'm just more like energetic throughout the day.
Okay. Do you get nervous excessively?
I wouldn't say excessively, no. I think it just depends on the environment that I'm in.
What about increased heart rate?
That has happened, but only whenever I have anxiety attacks.
Sleep problems?
Definitely.
Upset stomach?
That does happen whenever, like how I was just talking about the whole incident with English, whenever I wasn't confident about my answer. So if I don't have much confidence in something, and it's something that needs to be announced, my stomach does like get like an upset feeling, like it gets like a heavy feeling.
What about muscle tension? When you just
Would,
start
like-
feeling tense?
Would like clenching your jaw count as that? Because I do clench my jaw sometimes whenever I get nervous.
Okay. What about avoidance of fear?
What does that mean? Like exactly, like.
I want to say,
Because I don't know how to take it. I don't know if it means like avoiding something that could cause fears, like.
So, avoidance of movements or activities based on the fear of increased pain or injury. I guess you avoid certain situations that make you anxious or feel uncomfortable.
So yeah, so like avoiding situations that make me uncomfortable. I do sometimes do that, but it's only a sometimes thing. Like sometimes I can step out my comfort zone and do things, but it does happen like sometimes where I'll like back out of it because it gets me like really nervous and I just can't step up and do something.
So now there's different types of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a generalized anxiety, which is an excessive amount of a person that just feels anxious all the time, depending on different areas of their life. There's phobia, it's anxiety. It's where you have an intense fear of a specific situation or object. And then we have the panic anxiety, which is an extreme amount where a person just experiences panic attacks. Okay? And then, during a panic attack, which I don't know if you've ever experienced, your body's just all over the place.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the things you think trigger you?
Dang, I never really thought about that. I know that one of the things that trigger me is definitely having like a conversation with my parents, like either one. It's not like, I think it's because since I know that I usually do get in trouble because when I was younger I was such a bad kid. So like every time my parents are like, oh, like come downstairs real quick, I'm like, oh, am I in trouble? You can like, if you would talk to my mom about this, every time she calls me downstairs, I'm like, oh, am I in trouble? Like I always get nervous about it, but that's just because I knew how I was as a kid. And I guess sometimes I still have a little bit of fear that I might still act that way a little bit, but without realizing it. So I guess when the conversations come up, I instantly think like maybe I did something and didn't know I was doing something bad. So those are probably one of the main things. probably like definitely like school-wise, like presentations or like when I walk in the cafeteria, like in the morning, well, I used to, because before I got to school earlier, when I would walk into school and like the cafeteria was already full, I would get nervous because like it feels like everybody's like watching you walk in, and I hate the feeling of being watched, but it's like always like a feeling I have when I'm being watched unless I'm in a classroom, because in a classroom it's like I think everybody's focused on either their phones or they're doing their work, but in cafeterias or hallways I feel like somebody's always looking at me.
Have you felt like that before your medication, or have you ever felt like that during your medication?
I felt like that for honestly like a while, like probably like even before I got diagnosed. Like I've always felt that way. I think probably started like fourth or fifth grade. I've always kind of felt like someone was like always watching me or something. I guess it just kind of got worse over time.
With the medication now, is there something that you do to like cope with it? I know you might not feel it all the time because you do take medication for it, but just in case you do, like, do you still have some of the symptoms, but they're not as bad as they would?
I know I do still like, I definitely do get that kind of paranoia that like people are like making fun of me and stuff. I do get like, I know that whenever I get super nervous, I do get super shaky and like whenever I sit, I always like tap my leg, but I feel like when I get more anxious, like people can definitely tell that my leg tapping gets faster. And I definitely do stutter over my words whenever I get super anxious. Like at restaurants, before my anxiety got worse, I was able to order by myself, but sometimes I have moments where like if I get too anxious at a certain restaurant, I'll literally ask my dad or my mom like, hey, can you tell them I want this? But I'm trying to get better with being able to order myself. Lately I've been doing a little bit better with that, but sometimes I do have moments where I might stutter a little bit, and then I guess it kind of restarts that anxiety to like, oh, I'm going to ask my mom or dad next time to order for me. So it's kind of like a cycle.
Is it because of all the people surrounding you, or is it because they're putting you on the spot by asking you?
I think it's me being put on the spot because, like, I guess before my anxiety got too bad, it was like, this is a normal thing, like I've done this before and I can do this. But I guess since my anxiety ever got more worse, and I started getting more nervous of getting put on the spots, like presentations in school or being asked a question, it's like I get super nervous and then I just start to stutter. And it's not like a super, super bad stutter, but like sometimes I'll even like switch my words. Like there was a moment I was at a restaurant and I wanted a cheese enchilada and I said enchilada cheese and I was so embarrassed. And then I think for like a good while I started asking my parents to order for me. But the last time I went to a restaurant, I did order myself. I don't remember what restaurant I went to. I think it was probably Texas Roadhouse. But someone's calling me. Oh, I don't know who that is. It's unknown number. It had a name though. But yeah, I think those are the only symptoms I think I still get. But I think the main one that is like probably the worst is just me feeling like more paranoid. Why is this number calling me? It says David Marquez. I don't know what David. I mean, I do, but that's not his last name. So I don't know who that is. But yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Okay. So what is something that you think that you would find soothing for you? There's different ways a lot of people deal with anxiety besides medication. A lot of people like to do activities that they're fond of. A lot of people like to read, do breathing exercises,